Well, yes, I got involved in the BPA early on, like Eileen said, by being a room parent.
Wow, it
I
all starts
think
the
I was
same
a
place.
pre-K room parent, and a pre-K room parent can be pretty intense
There's a
because
lot.
there back then at least there was a lot going on every week, sometimes every day. But what a great way to know what was going on. I'm typically not a person who's always in the know. I like to joke I'm the last to know, but oh my goodness, you can't be in the dark if you're a room parent. You definitely are going to know what's going on, and you get to know a lot of the kids that way, and you get to know a lot of their parents that way that maybe you otherwise would not have gotten to spend time with.
Welcome back to Be the One podcast, and we're thrilled today to have two members of our Parents Association, our current Parent Association president, Eileen Halter, and Ashley Turner, who is helping chair this year's bidding for Brookstone. And want to get to know the two of them, but also hear about the work you're doing, not only in the Parent Association, but also in the upcoming great event of bidding for Brookstone. So thank you both for being here today. And I'm going to do less talking. I'm going to ask questions. But Eileen, I want to start with you a little bit, and just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your Brookstone story, and how you ended up in the seat you're in right now.
Well, we are not from Columbus. So my Brookstone story is about moving from Atlanta to Columbus about 7 years ago. My husband, Pace, got a job down here, and so we decided that it was a good move for our family at the time. And so our son, we have three boys. PJ graduated in 21, and he was going in ninth grade when we moved. And then our middle son, Charlie, graduated in 2024, and he went into sixth grade when we moved down to Brookstone. And then our youngest son, Reed, is a current junior, class of 2027, and he was going into third grade when we moved from Atlanta. And we chose Brookstone because it was, moving from Atlanta, we had lots and lots of options when we were looking at schools, and we had settled at another K through 12 private institution there. And because we were moving from what was everybody's home, we wanted to keep the transition as smooth as possible. And when we came to Brookstone, it just felt like that was the right fit. It was consistency for the kids. It was the kind of community where we felt like we were going to be really welcomed, and we wanted to be a part of that. And so fast forward to,
And was it all that?
It was.
Oh,
it
good.
was really
Oh, good.
good. Yeah, no, it was a good transition. Everybody, it was really welcoming community. We were excited to be here, and moving from Atlanta was a little bit of a transition, just going from a big city to a smaller city.
Been there.
Yeah, but it was nice. It was Brookstone families really opened up their hearts to us and welcomed us in. And one of the things that I was immediately pulled into was volunteering. I used to work when I was in Atlanta. I was a teacher. And when we came down here, we just felt like it was so much of a move that I was going to stay home for a little while, but I knew that I wanted to be a part of some aspect of the kids' lives being at school. That was my comfort zone. And I immediately got pulled in by a friend to be a room parent. And that a couple of years later.
That's when it starts. It starts as a room parent.
Starts as
Okay.
a room parent, yeah. A couple years later, I was the division rep for the intermediate school and participated in the Parents Association that way. And I got to see some of the really great things that the Parent Association does all over campus. And then, of course, when everybody gets into middle school, sometimes it's good to step back and take a break. And I did. And then I came back in and was the upper school representative when my middle son was in high school. And that was a great way because each division you go into is kind of a different piece of the community. And so it's good to see all of those different perspectives. And then how I ended up in the position I'm in today is thanks to Mitchie Wade and Jennifer Adams, the two previous presidents, and they're good friends. And when Mitchie passed a couple of years ago, they had already talked about who they wanted to ask to succeed Jennifer, who was the president-elect at the time. And unbeknownst to me, they were talking about me. And Jennifer asked me, Mitchie and I had already talked about this, and we wanted to see if you would be the president next year. And, in that time of grief and community coming together to mourn Mitchie's passing, I felt like that was a way to give back to the community, was to keep that legacy working, and to keep paying it forward, if you will. Just doing that, helping Mitchie's legacy live on. So that's how I ended up. That was a long way to get to.
That's a great story.
How I ended up where we are today.
So the process involved you shadowing for a year.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that shadow year, and then about what up until now, February, how your year in the seat has gone.
Oh yeah. So yes, the BPA has been very intentional on creating a structure where you aren't just thrown into a job. And that's taken a lot of years, I think, to put in place, but you're not just thrown into a job where you're in charge of everything. And so the year before you're the president-elect, and you basically shadow the president and follow all the activities, and you kind of learn the ins and outs of what the Parent Association does and why we do it, and all of the events that we put on, and where the funds go from all of the fundraisers, and you learn the background. And then the year that you serve as president is kind of just keeping the fruits of all that hard work going. We've got our committee structure set up to the presidents from several years ago worked really hard so that we would find people to chair events, and that they would stay in place and teach at the next person coming up, so that it's kind of a dynamic, evolving executive committee structure, so that you're never going into something really blindly with no one to tell you what to do or how to do it or what our best practices have become.
Yeah, and so you found that to be really helpful. Coming into this year.
So helpful. I mean, Jennifer has been such a great resource, and she and Mitchie and Katie Bickerstaff before her and all of the past presidents have really put in all of the work and laid that foundation, so that I'm just reaping all the benefits of all their hard work. And hopefully I'm doing a little bit of hard work myself, so that my president-elect, Carson DeMars, will come in next year and just have it all ready to go, and have that support system in place, with all of the volunteers that we need and want to bring into the Parent Association. It's great to have that sort of support system already there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So real quick, and I want to get to Ashley in a second. Sorry, Ashley. But what's the most fun part of the job, and what's one of the most challenging parts of the work?
And you asked me about some of the things that we've already done year to date up to February. One of the most fun things that we do is all of the back to school activities. There's a lot going on, and that really is a busy time for parents. Like August and September, there's so much going on and so many reasons to be at school. And one of the things that the Parent Association wants to do is make sure that everybody feels welcome, and that they know that, it's not just about coming to school and meeting your teacher. It's you're in the school community now, you're part of the family, and we have a block party at the meet and greet day. That is a lot of fun. There's music.
And hot.
It's hot. It's hot. And we always bring the icy
That's
girl.
Right, always icy
we
girl.
always bring the icy girl, and we have a great time. We bring Bubba the Cougar comes. And it's a good time for parents when they go meet the teacher, and then they can come hang out on the quad afterwards, get an icy girl treat, meet some other parents, maybe some new parents, get a picture taken with Bubba, listen to some good music, shop the spirit wear. Everybody wants to be ready for those Spirit Wear Fridays. So that's a fun activity, and it's kind of like that excitement that you get, that back to school feeling that everybody's ready. So we just that's one of those really fun events where we want parents to feel like, hey, it's not just about your child here. The school is here to take care of your child, to educate your child, and they've got that handled. But also we're here to take care of you as a parent and to show you where you can be part of this community too.
Terrific.
So that's been fun. And then, we have Cougar Cup, which is Cougar Nation's big fundraiser, and that's another great opportunity for parents to get involved, do a fun event, raise funds for athletics at the same time. We just, so many activities. And then the most recent activity that we just did was the Sweetheart Dance, which was great. It was the the daddy-daughter or, you know, the Brookstone girls and a special friend, they come, and we went to Green Island, had a great dance.
Lots of cowboy boots and hats.
Lots of cowboy boots and hats and bow ties and bolos and all of the fun things. We had a great DJ.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just one of those community builder events are so fun, and it's great to see the dads getting together, getting to know each other, dancing, having that sweet moment with their daughters. So those are the fun parts of the job, and I think the challenge sometimes is making sure that people know that you don't have to know everything before you can sign up to help. I think sometimes parents feel like, "Ooh, I've never done this before. I don't know if I'd be good at it," and that's kind of the fun thing about the Parent Association is it doesn't matter what your skill set is or your strengths are. We can help you figure that out, and we can find something for you to do. It could be as simple as, hey, would you like to bring snacks to the upper school faculty one week?
Answer is always yes.
Would you like to do that? Because you can do that in your spare time and drop it off or send it in with your child on Monday morning, and they'll have snacks in the faculty lounge. And that's, you know, there's little things that we can help parents do. And then there's other parents who are so skilled at putting on events, at asking other families to, you know, maybe donate some time or donate something from their business. And they, you know, we've got an event for you to help us. Something like Bidding for Brookstone is a great way to get parents who are really skilled at those things to get them involved. So that's probably the challenge, is just making sure people know that there are so many ways to impact the Brookstone community as a parent. It's not just about dropping your kid off and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, that's a great segue to Ashley, because the skill set clearly that you have, I didn't realize is the Bidding for Brookstone skill set. But before we get into that, your Brookstone story goes back a lot further
way back,
than I
and we're
was.
sitting in this room with all these old yearbooks.
You were flipping through one earlier.
Reminisce with. My family moved to Columbus in 1985 when I was 5. And I don't think anybody in my family had ever heard of Columbus, Georgia. So that's kind of where we were coming from. And the family that recruited my family here was a longstanding Brookstone family, Lynn and Ida Page. And they had their kids here, and now lots of grandkids have come through here. And, you know, they encouraged my parents to check it out. So that's how I started kindergarten, pre-first back then.
Pre-first.
And went all through and had a great experience here. I wouldn't have had it any other way. And
some great memories from your years here.
Well, and I've even talked to people since we're celebrating the 75th anniversary. I've gotten the chance to talk to a few people that were here, you know, well before my time even. And a memory that I think so many people share is how much time we spent outside. I think part of that was just practical. There weren't as many buildings. You had to get outside sometimes. But just, you know, being outside, every single one of our lower school teachers had a special interest in something. If it was Miss Beverly Kenner, my kindergarten teacher, she had us out in little patches of woods on nature hikes. Miss Sarah Singer, my second grade teacher, had us putting our hands in the dirt and making gardens, and there's still a garden, the Sarah Singer garden outside of the cafeteria. And then, of course, Mr. Sam Pate was just such an influence on me from lower school on into high school. But that's really what stands out. That's something that just makes it so unique.
You still can name all the birds?
He sent me off on a career in wildlife, but you know, even for so many people that had him that never even dreamed of getting into any kind of science, his sort of passion, I think, was making sure that students had a curiosity about what was going on around them and asking questions and being observant. So he knew most of his students weren't going on to be scientists, but he just wanted to kind of plant that seed of appreciation for nature and observation and questioning.
Can you talk a little more about that? I forgot to make that connection between Sam Pate and your career. Can you talk a little bit about that, like post Brookstone?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I took all the classes that he offered in high school, and just like all students that had him, felt like I was having fun, not really realizing how much I was learning. And then I went on to the University of North Carolina, and I was a biology major, so just general science. But I took whatever field classes they had there because I had that sort of interest and urge to have outdoor education, outdoor science education. And I also did some classes at University of Georgia, and I went on to get my master's there. And so sort of a fun story that I've told a few times is that I was in an ornithology class at University of Georgia. And on Fridays, they had a lab. And in field classes, your lab is basically a field trip. And so on Friday mornings, we would all meet at a different outdoor spot in Athens and learn about birds, identify them, learn them by sound, all of that. And just kind of under my breath, I muttered the scientific name of some bird that we saw. And the professor heard me, and I guess we talked a little bit before, and he said, I have to ask you, are you from Columbus, Georgia? And I think he knew the name Brookstone. And I said, why? And he said, I have so many students from Columbus, Georgia, Brookstone School, come through my ornithology class, even if it's just to check a science selective that they have to have. And they know all these random things about these birds and everything from this one teacher. And so,
That's great.
he affected people. I could go on about him. One day, my mailman, several years ago, my mailman saw, I think, an invitation I got to something that had to do with Mr. Sam Pate. And he had Mr. Sam Pate at Hardaway many years ago.
Oh, wow.
But we had never made that connection. But he talked about his memories of that teacher and what a difference it made to him. And just, I think the people that we know that have stories about Mr. Pate are just the tip of the iceberg of the people that were actually affected or impacted by him or have a memory of how he just made them feel special as a student, or, like I said, gave them some sense of wonder or curiosity or the urge just to put up a bird feeder in their yard so they could see birds every now and then. It might have even been that simple, but I think that would make him proud too.
No
But he
doubt.
did, when I decided I was going to go into wildlife ecology, and my parents, that was pretty foreign to our family, he did claim that he had to run from my mom whenever he saw her at the grocery store because she was asking him, what in the world are we going to do with this career? But, it's been great.
That's
and now
amazing.
Brookstone does Forest Friday, and
Yeah, I know you've been
we make
involved
sure
with
that everybody kind of knows a little bit about the legacy of Mr. Pate, and that Forest Friday is so much because of what he did, and because of this incredible campus that we have, and the opportunities that we have to be outside and be in a field or be in the woods or even just be sitting out right outside the school building. But that can be a special place to study or do a group project or something like that.
Yeah, wow. Well, talk a little more about your family too, because it's not just you who are an alum
Okay,
or
sure.
a student, but
So
you've got
Jack and I met in that kindergarten class.
Wow.
So I went to kindergarten with my husband. We grew up. I was, I liked being outside. I was a bit of a maybe a tomboy, and I liked doing those kinds of things. We were just great friends all through, and then we went to different colleges. He went to Georgia Tech and played baseball, and I was up in North Carolina. And so then we dated, and now we're married, and now we have 3 kids here at Brookstone. And of course, we thought about it, but we never had any question or concern that this is the right place for our kids. So we have 2 high schoolers and a middle schooler, Wheezy Guy and Betsy. And
has it been
I
different?
feel great about it.
Has it been
It's so
different the
different.
parent lens?
Now we're settled in as Brookstone parents, but when you first become a Brookstone parent, when you first bring your kids here as an alum, it does feel a little funny. You feel like, it's a little awkward to call the teachers by their first names or things like that feel, you kind of go back into student mode, at least we did. But now we're very settled and just love it. And it is, so many things have stayed the same. The continuity between, traditions where the high schoolers are interacting with the lower schoolers and things like that, the outdoor opportunities on campus, but then so many things have changed. It looks different for sure. The facilities, just, there are no words, just so improved.
Actually, that's awesome. So, talk a little bit now about how you got involved with the BPA and about what you're currently embarking on, which are in the middle of, really, is this
Sure.
75th anniversary, a birthday for the school, and then a really exciting live auction.
Sure. Well, yes, I got involved in the BPA early on, like Eileen said, by being a room parent.
Wow, it all starts the
I think
same
I was
place.
a pre-K room parent, and a pre-K room parent can be pretty intense
There's a
because back then at least there was a lot going on every week, sometimes every day. But what a great way to know what was going on. I'm typically not a person who's always in the know. I like to joke I'm the last to know, but oh my goodness, you can't be in the dark if you're a room parent. You definitely are going to know what's going on, and you get to know a lot of the kids that way, and you get to know a lot of their parents that way that maybe you otherwise would not have gotten to spend time with. So that's probably how my BPA involvement started, was room parenting. And so most recently, Lane Riley and I are co-chairs of this Bidding for Brookstone event, the BPA's biggest fundraiser, an annual event. And just like Eileen alluded to, so much of that goes to Mitchie Wade's positive influence that's still impacting us so much. I know when Mitchie was president, her main filter, her main focus as she looked at each event or each thing that the BPA did to see if it was worthwhile was community building. She wanted to be sure that there were opportunities for every parent, every person involved with Brookstone, no matter their time, no matter their free time, no matter their work schedule, no matter their other resources, that they had some sort of opportunity to feel like they were getting involved in a community here. And so I appreciate that so much. And when Jennifer Adams asked me to help chair this Bidding for Brookstone event a couple years ago, I said yes, because I knew it was going to be a great opportunity to be in community with a lot of other parents who were also working towards this event. Because like I said, I might not otherwise be here seeing some of those people, and it's worked out to be true. Mm-hmm. We did this event last year, and it was an online-only event with a small preview party, because it's gone to an alternating cadence of an online-only event and then a pretty big in-person sort of party with the live auction. And that's so that we don't take up too much of people's time and the effort that goes into the live event. But I think it's a great cadence. But with the event last year, I got to spend time with some of the people on this committee, and it is such a good team. It's so amazing to be part of a group like that and watch some of these people who do have skill sets that I absolutely don't have. The event planners, I'm just in awe of people who are able to just they make it look easy. I know it's not easy, but they make it look easy when they are thinking about all the details that we need to take care of beforehand. You know, the decor items, the rentals, the food and beverage, and they can make these decisions on those things and know who to call to ask for help. I just am in awe of event planners. And then we have a really great auction team who goes out in the community and procures items mostly from the Brookstone community. And so I watch some of these, and the communications team. So the BPA in the past few years has added a communications team, which has just been game changing. Because I think y'all would all agree, in work, in every organization I'm involved in, I've learned over the past few years that communication is almost everything. It's not everything, but you could be doing something pretty amazing, but if you're not able to communicate it to the people that need to know or that should know, you know, you might as well not do it. So this past year it was Robin Gosling and Carrie Beth Wallace, and they just are able to do social media and communications to get the word out to folks that it's just taken such a load off of us for them to be able to do that.
That's awesome.
And again, they make it look easy. I know it's not easy. It's a very challenging task, but they take a lot of information and they're able to condense it into a way that we can get the message out to everybody that needs to know.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, great teams are really as important as anything else. That sounds like you have a fantastic group that you're working with.
I can't thank them enough.
That's amazing.
And I'll tell you, Bidding for Brookstone is a really cool event. I think probably most or all independent schools have some sort of a parents association, I would hope, and then they have to do some sort of fundraising to provide all the special items that they're able to provide for the students and the faculty throughout the year. But it was a great idea years ago that someone had, and I think it probably started as a simple idea of asking the Brookstone community, you know, do you have a service that you can offer, an item you can offer? Of course, there's art and decor items and maybe a second home that you're willing to offer for a weekend that we can put into our auction. And it's really grown and expanded over the years. And so I think it's unique because a lot of those items come from Brookstone families or former Brookstone students or their parents. And then the treasures category is just so unique. And I was looking at some of the treasures just the other day, and that's what makes this auction really special, different than any other silent auction or live auction that you're going to go to. But, you know, things like a student being able to be the bat boy for the game, for the varsity baseball game, or to help the coach on the sidelines at a football game, or to be, I think maybe one of the biggest ones is lower school principal for the day. That's a very, very hot
very
item.
popular one.
Yes.
A hot ticket.
You know, Chick-fil-A with one of your favorite teachers, a special lunch with you and a friend. it goes on and on. The creativity that some of these teachers have shown in the items that they're able to offer, and I mean, other than some of their time and sometimes some effort, or if it's a Target shopping spree with your favorite teacher, that costs a little bit of money. But, hopefully for just a small, half day or amount of time, it creates this, again, community and opportunity and a memory for that student that got to do that just,
awesome.
you obviously couldn't get that at any other auction or anything like that. So that's kind of what makes bidding for Brookstone so
Thank
special.
you. So maybe either one of you can answer this. But so if I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to go or I'm going to go to this event, what would I expect to? What would I be getting myself into?
Well, the answer is yes. You definitely want to go to this event. You want to be there. It's going to be a good time. Lane and Ashley, they both have put in so much thought into what they want this event to look like. And with it being Brookstone's 75th birthday, it's just this great opportunity to not only celebrate the school, but raise money to put back into the school. And so it's one of the things that we want to do is invite as many people as we can. We want to make sure that alums know they're welcome.
Right.
The Brookstone families, extended families are welcome. Obviously, if you're local, I mean, come on.
Please, yes. The more the merrier.
Get a ticket and come. And they have thought through the event itself. They've set up this committee where we're planning for all of these amazing items to be available for auction, for live auction too. And you want to be there for the live auction because those are items that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else.
Anything you could share?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Well, something exciting about the live auction is we're bringing back auctioneer Walter Miller. He's a Brookstone grandfather.
Wow. Yes.
And father of some alums. But when I was here, Walter was doing the auction. I think it was the night before Country Fair. And everybody would come gather in the gym, and I think we'd play bingo. And he would do an auction. So it's just really fun that Walter's coming back to be our live auctioneer. I know that one of our alums, Bo Bartlett, who speaks very fondly of his time at Brookstone and his art teachers here, he has offered to do an original piece for the auction.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You heard it here.
Great. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, wow. I mean, that's a one in a
Very
million
generous
chance right there.
of Bo to do that for us. We've got some other alums doing some original art, which is pretty special and unique for this year. And then you've got things like some rare liquors and rare wines that some Brookstone families are willing to share out of their collections with the live auction, but things that you really couldn't find anywhere else.
That's terrific. Thank you.
And then the party itself is going to be a lot of fun too.
This year, where will it be?
It will be at the Bib Mill.
Bib Mill, that's right.
And we've got, do you want to talk a little bit more about the event itself?
Sure. Is that a
Please.
good time? The party's on Thursday, March 19th from 6:30 to 9:30. So it is not a big fancy thing. People are very much encouraged to come as they are. So if you're coming from your kid's soccer game or your kid's baseball game,
Don't let that stop you.
Yes, don't let that stop you. It's at the Bib Mill. It'll be very comfortable. We're actually going to have a band, the Kinchafoonee Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
And these are some guys that I think they all went to Georgia. They all got started in their band there years ago. They still play some college band parties. And they play around Georgia doing corporate events and other school events. We've got rave reviews from some good friends at another school. So we're having a band. We're going to have a kind of a Southern supper available there at the Bib Mill. And then all the auction items will be out on display. So it's really a celebration, like you said, for current families, obviously, but also parents of former former Brookstone parents and grandparents. All alums need to feel welcome and encouraged to come to this one. Maybe you didn't think it was for you another year, but this year's the 75th anniversary. This is for everybody. We're going to have some legendary faculty there. You might bump into some of your old teachers that you want to thank or tell them how you ended up or something like that. But every time we have a Brookstone reunion, we talk about how we would still love to see some of the people from some of the other grades because the school's the size where you're still friends with people in other grades. And I don't really know the logistics of how you all would actually pull something like that off. So really we could look at this as a all-school reunion too.
Right.
So we'd love to have all the grades represented at the party on March 19th.
That's terrific. So there's a pre-event too for certain folks, right? Is that something people can get involved in too?
Yes, that's the VIP patron package.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank you.
mentioning
Okay,
that.
Tee that up for you,
of course,
Ashley.
there'll be general admission tickets. to the party, and that gets you access to the online bidding. A VIP patron package would get 2 people into the party ahead of time. So that would actually start at 5:30, and we'll have an oyster bar and champagne cocktail reception for the patrons.
And they get
and
an
of course they get an
look at
early
the
look at the auction items, right?
Right.
While it's still kind of quiet, and they can really take it all in before the crowd shows up.
Well, this is shaping up to be just a fantastic event. So excited about it. I know that Karen and I will absolutely be there, something we would never miss, and just really excited to see everybody together. I mean, that's really what it's about. Building community, BPA does so well. And 2 years ago when we did this in honor of Mitchie was just an outpouring from the community, and I really anticipate the same thing this year. So thank you, Ashley, for sharing it, and Lane too. I know you're out there, and thank the BPA in general and you, Eileen, for supporting this work and for supporting the school. We couldn't do this without you all. The BPA is such a critical organization for our success, and as I tell people this outside of Brookstone all the time, outside of Columbus, that I think the health of your Parents Association is very much a reflection of the health of the school. And we have a strong, robust, and energetic Parents Association, and it is, I think, a great reflection of what the work we're doing here. So thank you for that.
I think so,
Thank
too.
you. Thank you.
I think one of the things that I know we hadn't talked about this, but just to make sure that parents know, that BPA, the funds raised from the auction are going to go back into the school, and we provide into the BPA general fund goes to support faculty and teachers in the classroom with special requests that may be above and beyond what they could normally do in their classroom. And then we've also got the Arts Alliance, which is part of the BPA, and that goes to support the fine arts community at Brookstone, which, as you can tell, Columbus is such a treasure trove as a city of arts, of the fine arts, and it's just amazing what talent we have here that came from Brookstone. And so we pour back into the fine arts community here at Brookstone through our funds, and there'll be another fundraiser for the arts community later on. But and then the Cougar Nation supports the athletics arm of the BPA, and so we are trying to push back into every child's experience here at Brookstone, whether you participate in just the fine arts, whether you are strictly an athlete, whether you do all of it. We want to have an impact on the classroom, the arts, the athletics, the community as a whole. So this is, Bidding for Brookstone is really our premier fundraiser where we build up that ability to push back into the school. And
well, you're doing a great job, and this is going to be fantastic. So
we're so excited.
Yeah, thank you. Well, before I don't want to end on that note. I'd really like to end on a more personal note for the two of you. I mean, you've only got 2 more years here as a parent, right? Or not even 2 more.
Yeah, not even like 15 months.
I know you got longer, Ashley, but I would love to just hear sort of just what are your hopes for Brookstone, your dreams for Brookstone moving forward, and what impact you'd like to see it continue to have or have in the future here. Ashley, why don't we start with you?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would hope that Brookstone could continue to expand on some of the positives, the things that make it so unique, the beautiful campus, the outdoor opportunities that we have here, getting the little kids outside, but also even the older kids too, which I know they do, but I just love seeing that. It's very important to me personally. And I would love to see every kid that comes through Brookstone have as wonderful of an experience as I did, socially, academically, with the memories now so many years later of special teachers, special students in my grade and in other grades, and just some of the memories from the traditions and the sports and things like that we get to do here.
Absolutely. Thank you. What about you, Eileen?
I mean, yeah, it is coming to an end pretty soon for me. But one of the things that I so appreciate about Brookstone and the Columbus community is that it's still a place where you feel like you're at home. And we see so many alums and families coming back to campus for events. So I would hope that, that impact goes beyond, and we'll always feel welcome at Brookstone as a family. And that we'll continue to participate, and that we continue to build up this engaged community, this community of parents who feel like this is where their friendships are, where their kids' friendships are, where they feel like they can contribute and really make a difference. A lot of, the world we live in, sometimes it's hard to feel like you can make a difference, but your local community is one where you can. And I feel like Brookstone is a prime example of what you can do when people are truly invested in the community around them.
Absolutely.
So.
Thank you. And you will only, your title will change. Instead of a current parent, you will be a past parent.
Yes.
So you'll still have a Brookstone connected title, and Ashley, you of course will always be an alum. Always.
Yeah,
Well, thank you all so much. This has been really fantastic to hear about, and I trust that our listeners will be very appreciative to hear about it, and I hope everybody will be there. I'm really looking forward to it.
Too.
Thank you once again for joining us on Be the One podcast, and so thankful to both Ashley and Eileen for their time today.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing everybody at Bidding for Brookstone.